Hello, guys. Thank you very much for joining in. We will be starting out in a few minutes. I hope everybody can see the screen now. We'll be starting out in a few minutes. We're waiting for the participants to join in. Okay, so we are starting out with this session now, and other people will join in. Now, the entire idea about this session was primarily to give the understanding to all the students or candidates who are in the finance field regarding the opportunities regarding the job opportunities available for them in different sectors within finance. And because most of the students feel that it's only a bank which is available, we want to give them a flavor of what all roles are available for them, and hence this presentation came into picture. And we also wanted to give all the attendees or candidates an opportunity to get some ask queries regarding the opportunities that they see, and how should they prepare or upskill them in the whole process. So that is why we had this webinar, and we are planning to have future webinars also on similar kind of lines, which we will keep on sharing these webinars details with all, and you guys can join in as per your availability. Okay. And with respect to the queries, what we'll be doing is that the process of this webinar will be, I'll be talking about the content of the presentation, my experience, industry availability, and then at the end, I'll open up the forum for people to ask questions. Okay, so we can directly look into that then. Okay, so I understand few of the people have queries, and we'll wait for the end to have the query. Kindly note it down for us, and so that we can address it at the end later stage. Okay, so we are starting out with this presentation now. The topic of this presentation is primarily career opportunities for CFA and FRM candidates. So the agenda is primarily to understand, first of all, what exactly is a CFA course, what exactly is an FRM course. So will be touching base. We will touch base first of all on the quick snapshot for the CFA course, and then we'll also talk about briefly upon the how exactly is the FRM course conducted. And once you're done with these kind of courses, you have completed few levels of these courses, then what all career opportunities ideally are available for you on a broader spectrum. And we are going to be talking in detail a few specific roles or a specific section. First, we're going to be talking about few fund management or AMC kind of business. Then we're going to be talking about core finance team that we see in a bank or an investment bank. And we will also be talking about risk management roles and risk management opportunities in the business, in the bank business. Front office roles, trading roles, how exactly it is, and what are the key skills that an trader is expected to have, and how you can fit into the picture. We'll also be talking about, give you a brief about the compensation structure, who are the top recruiters in your domain for these kind of roles. And further, we're going to be talking about how we as a training institute, Fintelligent, we're going to be helping you out in the entire process, right? And finally, we'll also disclose a list of a few of the webinars which we plan to conduct in future. So with this, on this note, we'll first have a quick snapshot about CFA. So CFA is primarily a 3-level course. Okay, level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 2 and level 3 can be given only once in a year, and level 1 can be given twice a year. So the exam is generally conducted in the month of May and December, and level 2 and level 3 is primarily conducted in the month of May. So you have to clear, if you want to be a CFA charter, if you want to be a CFA charter holder, then you have to clear all the 3 levels, and you also need to show around 4 years of work experience, which you'll have to submit to the institute. And once you submit the institute, you will receive the CFA charter holder. You'll receive a CFA charter, and then you'll become a charter holder. And once you have that charter holder, you can write in front of your name that you're a CFA completed candidate. And few more topics about the exam. So a few important things that normally people need to know about the CFA exam is that the topic that the exam cover is very broad, and it talks about your finance at a general level. It deep dives into corporate finance, it deep dives into equity, fixed income. Then it also talks about derivatives. It also talks about risk management a bit. It also talks about your accounting side, that is an IFRS or GAAP side. It also gives on that perspective. And the major business or major view that anybody sees in this process is basically a major career opportunity that CFA candidates ideally look into is basically portfolio management or financial research kind of roles and investment banking related stuff. So this kind of career opportunity, we're going to be discussing that in the in detail. So three levels of exam I talked about. Exam is in June and December. And overall, the exam fee is around 1,700 US dollar, and the pass percentage primarily ranges from 40 to 50%. And in order to go for the exam, you have to be a bachelor's completed candidate, or else you have to be in the final year of your bachelor's. And you should be able to take the exam in English, given that the exam is conducted across the globe and in a particular fashion on a particular day, and you should be able to adhere to the professional conduct which the CFA Institute is expecting you to do. For example, you're not supposed to do any fraud. If there is any disclosure that you're supposed to make, you'll have to do that to the institute. So those kind of stuff has to be there. With this was a quick snapshot about your CFA course. We will be going towards the FRM course. FRM is a very small course in as compared to the CFA one, because it has only two levels, which is level 1 and level 2, and both the levels can be given in May and November. Okay, and once you have completed your level 2, you have to show only 2 years of work experience, but you have a time window of around 4 years to come to submit that 2 years of experience. And a few important points with respect to your exam, FRM exam, is that it's a 4-hour examination. There is no negative marking in the entire process. Then you'll feel that the cost of the exam is a bit lower as compared to the CFA exam. It's around 1,200 for the entire two level. You need to have either a passport or driving license to appear for the exam. And in India, at least, the exam is conducted in 4-5 locations on a single day, either in the month of May and November. And the broad topics that are covered is that as per the nature of the exam, it do a deep dive into risk management related stuff. So you'll find yourself reading credit risk. You'll find yourself reading operations risk. You'll find yourself reading derivatives. Then what all statistics part of it. Then also you'll be talking about valuation and risk model. So this exam is very apt for people who wish to go for a risk management hardcore role. With this, I'm moving to the third part of the presentation, which is basically your career path. Okay. Now this is the interesting part, because over here we primarily look at how what all different fields, once you have completed your CFA or FRM, what all different fields or different career that you can choose for. Right. So what we have divided is primarily we have divided the entire spectrum of finance into few large chunks. For example, there's an investment bank or a commercial bank available with a job opportunity, and you'll find that major roles that these kind of banks provide is into operations, into risk management, then into fund management, and sales and equity research. Equity research roles are in huge demand as of now, and primarily you need a CFA degree, CFA charter holder, or either a CA for these kind of roles. Sales and trading role, we are going to be talking about it. This entirely comes into front office roles. Okay, and front office roles in the sense that you'll be interacting with the client. Risk management and fund management is a kind of a back office role, but has been very prominent after 2007 and 2008 crisis, because it entirely talks about how do you manage your fund or money of the organization or its clients. And this is from the banking side. And if you go and become a part of the large corporates, like for example Reliance, Adani, Edelweiss Group, or Mahindra, Aditya Birla. So those kind of big firms or corporates, what they do is they hire CFA or FRM candidates ideally into their treasury or financial planning and analysis role. So when you are into a treasury role, you are expected to understand their business and see how quickly they can manage funds for themselves to be available within a short span of time, and you can invest your amount, how you can invest your amount in the market on behalf of the customer, on behalf of the corporate. So those kind of roles are available. We'll be having a quick touch base on those kind of roles. Then there are institutions also, like for example, you'll find hedge funds into this category. Then you will find pension funds into this category. Then private equity is also a very prominent kind of institution that hires FRM or CFA candidates. And within that range also, the major roles that we see is research and portfolio management. So portfolio management is again managing the funds of the client, but over here the fund perspective can be very different, because you might end up managing a fund for a pension fund, say for example a Reliance pension fund or a Kotak pension fund, and it can also be a wealth management team of Edelweiss or IIFL or IIFL insurance, IIFL brokerage team. So those kind of roles are also available. And within that domain itself, we have a research, because what happens is that to your clientele, you have to provide your research input so that they can take a better judgment about the roles available. Okay, but a better judgment about the market opportunities. Further, professional roles which are not actively pursued by the students as of now is basically a valuation professional or a due diligence professional, which basically companies hire. Suppose if there is a large company which is going to be bankrupt, then you need a valuer to value the entire process. Okay, and if you need to do a due diligence, if you wish to buy a big company, you need to go and do a due diligence of that company with respect to risk management, with respect to your accounting, with respect to your any fraud or anything. So for those kind of roles, they hire a lot of consultants. For example, KPMG does provide due diligence process to their clients, and in this whole process, they hire CFA and FRM candidates also. Okay, so this was just a broad level of career path which is available to all the candidates for CFA and FRM. And now we will deep dive into particular specific sectors like fund management to start out with. Okay. Now, what we have tried to do in this slide of fund management is that we'll give you a quick snapshot about what all roles are available within fund management domain or asset management domain. Okay, and what all companies are hiring it, and what is the general career progression that you see that is happening for you. Okay, within the fund management domain, when you're saying fund management, it is primarily your any company who is managing a client's fund. It can be a wealth management company, it can be an asset management company. Asset management company means a mutual fund. Okay, or it can be a hedge fund also. Okay, so this is a generic term when you're talking about a fund management company. So within that fund management domain, you'll find two, three core roles wherein you need a CFA or FRM candidate to be there. Okay, the first being a role of handling the fund. So normally you have a fund manager. Okay, a fund manager is responsible for giving returns to its clientele and making sure where exactly the fund will be deployed. So, for example, if you are working with Axis Mutual Fund and Axis AMC, Axis Asset Management Company, and that asset management company might have 12, 13, 40 funds available in the market, and they have fund managers for each of the funds. Now, if you're a fund manager, your responsibility is to make sure that the net asset value of that fund is going higher and higher, and the investment that you're making on behalf of the client is protected, and you're able to give an appropriate return to those kind of funds. So CFA is very heavily uh, applied in this kind of role, and they are also hired on the big numbers in fund management related role. So you might not get a direct opportunity to become a fund manager, okay, but you will start out as an analyst or senior analyst in that fund management team. Now, apart from managing the fund, you have a trading risk management team. So this includes both your trader and the risk management team within the trading side. Now, in this domain, you will find a trader sitting on a desk, which will do a lot of trades on behalf of the fund manager. So, if suppose a fund manager wants to sell out 20% of the stake that it has in a particular company and want to sell it in the open market, then it will send out the request to the trading team, and trading team will execute that request on behalf of the fund manager. Now, how do you execute that in the market? That depends upon the trading team, because their responsibility is primarily to mitigate the risk of falling prices when you actually liquidate this much a huge amount of funds. in the market. Okay, so trading risk management roles are also very active, and you will find a lot of FRMs into this kind of role. Client engagement is basically your sales related role, wherein you'll be talking to your clientele. These clientele can be your HNIs, this clientele can be your broker, can be your insurance companies, because those companies invest money in your fund. So you need a client engagement module, or basically a team to talk to them constantly and appraise them about their investment strategies and how their funds are growing. So in this kind of role, you'll find both CFA and FRM candidates working. Okay, and who are the top companies who are hiring these kind of companies, this kind of giving these kind of roles is basically your mutual fund or asset management companies. You'll find Axis Mutual Fund, ICICI Mutual Fund, then HDFC Mutual Fund, and you'll find Reliance Mutual Fund, Nippon Mutual Fund, IDFC Mutual Fund. So those kind of roles are provided in India, and across major cities in India, these kind of roles are available. Okay. Then apart from the core asset management roles, you will also find new wealth management business also, which is generally very niche. So you will find Kotak has a very big wealth management business. Then IIFL wealth and asset management business is also very big, because what they do is they manage the funds which is lying spare with an HNI, say for example 10-15 crores, and they will invest on behalf of that HNI, and they will guarantee a return to them. So portfolio management services are kind of wealth management options available to the clients. Edelweiss is also a very big player in this domain. Okay, and if you join in the business, then normally what happens is that you join either as an analyst, or basically a management trainee, or basically assistant manager kind of role, which is an entry level role in that business. And then you gradually grow from becoming a deputy manager, senior manager to a VP and AVP level roles. So what all skill sets are required to enter into a fund management business, and what all certifications are primarily tracked. Okay, so key skill set for you to enter into a finance related roles for fund management is that you need to have a very strong product knowledge. You need to have a very strong product knowledge. That means you cannot shy away from learning about derivatives. You cannot shy away from learning about the market. So these kind of questions are tracked in your interview when you go for the role. Okay, sectoral market specific role is a must. Okay, so and that's the reason what they do is they generally hire people from the research background, and people who already have done some kind of sales, who understand the market, or has done some kind of a trading. So prior experience of those is definitely valued. And what happens is that in terms of sectoral knowledge, so they might have a particular set of people investing in fixed income or bonds, or they might have a specific group of people investing only in healthcare kind of assets, or real estate kind of assets. So those kind of sectoral knowledge becomes very important. Okay, and when you are into a fund management role, your presentation and Excel skill has to be awesome, because you're going to be reporting it to your fund manager at a broader level. What all numbers are showing up for your fund, how you are going to change the strategy. If you're going to invest in a particular company, what will happen? Okay, how your portfolio will change. So those kind of in order to engage with your seniors in the role, you will need a very strong presentation and Excel skill. So I would request you all candidates to go through those skills and presentation in detail. Do not skip on that front. And in terms of certification, normally what happens is that they hire from premier B schools, but CFA or CA level kind of people are also taken care of. I mean, they are also hired. CFA level 1 clear is generally mandated. So you cannot just be a candidate for CFA. You have not cleared CFA exam and you expect them to uh, hire you. That is not possible as of now, because what they expect is that some broader level of market understanding, which is available when you clear the exam, right? And if you are a CA completed candidate, then it becomes easy for you to enter in the fund management domain. And lastly, you need some interpersonal skills with respect to your analytical bent of mind, in the sense that you should be able to connect the dots very easily when you are in the role, and you should be able to you should be very active in the market, in the sense that you should be able to see how market is changing, and you should be able to give up ideas to your senior managers on a day-to-day basis. And multitasking is definitely essential, because you might end up making a 3-4 presentation in a day, and also tomorrow morning you have to submit the entire fact sheet, which the fund management team has to send it to their client. So you will create that entire fact sheet. It will go under review, and there will be 3-4 days of review. So entire multitasking has to be there from your end. And in terms of entry level jobs, so either you join at a analyst or a senior analyst or a deputy manager level role, and the salary generally starts from 4 to 5 lakhs. Okay, and definitely it depends upon candidate. If the candidate is good and has a specific degree, for example, if you are a CFA charter holder, then your salary will definitely be around 8 to 9 lakhs. 8 to 9 lakhs, definitely. So those kind of starting packages you can expect in these management or AMC related roles. And once you grow into a senior role, which is basically an associate, so in Indian fund management scenario, these are called managers and senior managers. So your salary can shoot from 12 lakhs to 20-25 lakhs, and that is a general benchmark. If you are into an international fund management company, then your salary definitely your starting salary will be around 10-12 lakhs. So in India, a lot of international hedge funds are available. In India, a lot of private equity funds are available also. So they provide these kind of high packages to students, to candidates. Okay, so this was the entire snapshot about fund management and domain. We'll move towards the finance team. So a lot of your big corporates, for example, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Nomura, they have an entire fund finance team available with them. And also a finance team is very strong in your large corporate, for example, Reliance or Edelweiss or ITC or HUL. So primarily what happens in this kind of role, we'll have a quick understanding about it. And now the major team that you'll see is in a big corporate like Reliance or ITC is basically a treasury team. Now what happens is that a treasury role requires you to have an in-depth understanding about financial products, and it also requires you to know the markets in detail. Okay, which basically means that you will end up doing trades on behalf of the company. Okay, a lot of your proprietary money, which basically means Reliance might have a lot of the big chunk of money available with them, and they want that money to be invested so that they can earn return. So those kind of activities has to be done in the treasury role. Okay, and CFAs and FRMs are hired in that treasury role in a very broad sense. And treasury also does is you if you have a lot of your international business. Suppose Tata Motors has a lot of international business and they are selling their trucks to US, and they are expecting to get a lot of US dollars in future. And since they are also selling abroad, so they might have a cost in USD. So how do they match their income and cash outflow in USD over a period of time? So that is also a responsibility of the treasury. Okay, then you will also find financial planning and reporting roles. That is basically your FP&A. FP&A, that is financial planning and reporting roles. And what happens in these kind of roles is a lot of your budgeting that happens across the company is taken care by this financial planning and reporting team. And they also do a lot of due diligence in terms of how the cost factor of the entire company, how the raw material cost factors are moving over a period of time. Is there an alternative available to them? How their revenues are moving, sectoral revenues, client base revenue is changing. So all in-depth analysis is done by financial planning and reporting team or analysis team. So a lot of CFAs get hired over here. Okay, and then you will find a product control team also. Now, product control team is primarily you will see that in your lot of big investment banks like JP Morgan has a very big product control team. Deutsche Bank has around 70-75 people sitting in Bombay. Then you will find Morgan Stanley around 100 people sitting in Bombay and Bangalore. So Those kind of roles are available. A product control analyst basically does is he lot of trades that are happening for an investment bank. So an investment bank basically does a lot of trades on behalf of the customer, on behalf of their own money. So product control team is responsible for looking at the profit and loss profit and loss for the firm on a day-to-day basis at an asset class level. That means on a fixed income, equity, credit derivative rates level, and also on a regional level, on an entity level. Okay, so they have a lot of calculations available to be done. They have a lot of models to be run, and a lot of FRM or CFA candidates is hired in these kind of roles. So you'll find a lot of people working in these trades with Nomura, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, people who are already CFA or FRM working in a product control team, right? Then one more important team is financial control. That is basically a risk management team within finance. Risk management team within finance itself. Okay, and you will find a lot of FRMs in this role. Okay, and they are responsible for making sure that the product control team or treasury team or the reporting team is working smoothly and there is no risk in the entire process. And they also look at what are the funds invested by the company and how their risk is changing over a period of time. So they also look at portfolio management for a big corporate. So Mahindra has a financial control team sitting in Bombay, which has around 50 people team, and they what they do is they check for all the portfolio of fund. That means your real estate funds, your equity funds, your bond trades, bond investments, entire portfolio of Mahindra, how it is changing over a period of time, and what is the risk that they see in this portfolio, and how we can mitigate that. So this kind of role is also very very important. And lastly, CFO team. This role is a very niche role, and you will find this kind of role only in big corporates. Okay, and wherein you'll find 5 6 people working directly under CFO, and they do a lot of strategic roles, strategic kind of business, strategic kind of decision making. Okay, in terms of if suppose we want the company wants to raise debt or bond in the market, then how will you do it? Which market is essentially can we take a fund from India, or should we go abroad? Should we go to Japanese market, or should we go to US market? So those kind of fund raising activities are primarily taken care by CFO team. And how do you roll off those money on a broader level? These kind of activities are done by the CFO team. Then, in terms of career progression, what happens is that in a finance team, you'll join up as a senior analyst or an analyst, and you'll grow up into associate or senior associate. So a lot of your big banks have associate, senior associate, AVP, VP, and then you have a senior VP and executive director. So you have a lot of big command chain in between. Your career progression is generally slow, and you will find yourself working as an analyst for 2 years, and then having a promotion to a senior analyst or a basically associate role. Okay, we'll go towards the key skills and what all the compensation that you can look for. So key skill is definitely that you will have to be either a CFA, CA, or an FRM completed candidate. So more or less, if you're a CFA or FRM completed or a CA completed candidate, you definitely have a lot of value in the business. And the expectation is that you have to be very proficient in your accounting knowledge in terms of GAAP and IFRS, because a lot of your product control rules require you to be aware about it. In terms of product knowledge, you have to be very good with your derivative skills, derivative products and structured products. You need to be aware about how the trading is done in the market, and how what all things can affect your trade. So those kind of things has to be there. Your presentation and Excel skills are also tested on a wide level, because what happens is that if you're in a product control team or in a treasury team, you might end up reporting your senior managers on regarding the day end profit and loss or day end position of your trades, right? And also on a quarterly or a monthly basis, you have a lot of meetings where you have to create a presentation on the entire portfolio of your company in terms of from the finance perspective, right? and there's a lot of stress or pressure that you see in your treasury roles and FP&A roles. So you'll have to be ready with that pressure handling skills, and you'll have to be in a very good domain of multitasking things. Okay, the compensation is generally better, so you'll find a range from around 7 lakhs. Okay, so normally an analyst or senior analyst generally starts from 7 lakhs. Okay, and it continues to 12 lakhs, 12 and 13 lakhs. And once you grow in the organization, you can grow from 12 lakhs to above. So that's the general, but the starting package is very high in a finance team. Okay. Next is risk management. These kind of roles for risk management are available in a lot of big corporates, and you will find market risk a very prominent role, and market risk reporting kind of prominent role available. So I'll give you a number. For example, Credit Suisse. I think so in Bombay, we have around 70, 60, 65 or 70 people sitting in Bombay itself. Then you have BNY Mellon, Bank of New York Mellon, sitting in Pune, having a 50 people team into market risk and market risk reporting roles. Okay, so those kind of roles are there. What is market risk team does is that you will have you if you are a part of the bank, and bank is investing a lot of money on behalf of the customer and on behalf of the on their own money, own fund, and then how does that gets impacted when there is a change in the market. So for example, now the coronavirus thing is very prominent and market prices are going down, and you have a portfolio. How does that price get impacted, and how you can be ready with that? So credit market risk is primarily about that. Then you'll also find yourself doing a credit risk role. So within credit risk, you will find counterparty risk, you'll find country risk roles available in a lot of big locations like Delhi. Also, a lot of big companies have credit risk teams. Now, what does the credit risk role does? Is basically you have to be sure about your client or the counterparty with whom you are doing a trade, and you have to be clear in the sense that whether that counterparty is eligible counterparty or not, or whether that counterparty is financially stable counterparty or not. Because if you are about to get some money from that counterparty and that counterparty defaults, that becomes a huge risk for you, because you end up losing a lot of money. So credit risk team is responsible for tracking the entire credit risk for your business, tracking the entire clientele risk for you. Now you also have an operation risk available. You also have an operation risk role available with you, and wherein operation risk team is primarily responsible that the entire operations of the company is running smoothly. There is no BCP kind of situation, business continuity issues. There's no fraud that is happening in the company. There's no risk as such in terms of key person dependency happening in the organization. So those kind of risks is primarily taken care by the operation risk team. Then you also have compliance. So a lot of your big organization today, for example, Morgan Stanley in India has a lot big compliance team, and what they do is they take care of all the regulation across the globe. So they manage regulations for US market, then Hong Kong market, Singapore market, China market, and also in India market if they have an exposure. So a huge opportunity for CFA FRM candidates to join a compliance team also. Stress testing is very niche role. So you'll find around 10 to 15 people maximum in a bank working in a stress testing role. This team actually works in relation to your market risk team. So in lot of the banks, you have stress testing team within your market risk team itself. Okay, now what the stress testing team does is they will see the entire portfolio of the business, and they will try to see if the macroeconomic variables, for example, your domain, for example, interest rate or oil prices or currency, how do if they move in future, then how does that impact my portfolio? So they will take a stress scenario, and they'll try to see how it will impact you as a business. Okay, then you have risk and control team also. Now risk and control team is also connected to your operation risk, because they do a lot of policies and procedure for the bank, and they keep on reviewing a lot of policies and procedure. So you will find a lot of FRMs working in this kind of roles. Also for stress testing, FRMs are hired in a large numbers. Then you have risk methodology and model validation. So these teams, risk methodology and model validation, generally work in sync. And what happens is that this methodology team is responsible for creating your valuation and risk models in the bank. And this role requires you to be very good in statistics, very good in coding, programming language. Okay, and hence you will find a lot of IITians, a lot of IM graduate, a lot of statistics graduate working in the risk methodology team. Okay, and model validation team is fairly is very simple team in the sense that you'll find a lot of FRM working over there. A lot of CFAs are also have started joining model validation team. Their responsibility is that once the model is created, you have to check it on an annual basis if the model is actually running properly or not. Okay, enterprise risk is also a big roles opening. Deutsche Bank had a 40 people team in Bombay sitting now in the enterprise risk domain, and you will find a lot of FRM level 1 candidates, cleared candidates. Few of our students also have joined enterprise risk management roles in Deutsche, Credit Risk, Credit Suisse, and Nomura. So entry level roles are available, and their responsibility is to do a lot of reporting at an enterprise level, at the company level, in terms of risk to the top management, right? And the role hierarchy is generally in the risk very short. So you will find a lot of companies have either a analyst or a senior analyst role, and directly they move towards associate, AVP, and VP, ED, or managing director. So very small hierarchy, and quickly you can move towards your career goal. So you will find a lot of young VPs, so VP with an age of 33 35 age, working in a bank. So very much possible for you to grow in the career easily. Key skills required for you is one of the prominent skill that is growing in the risk management domain now is that the programming language skill. For example, R or Python is very highly used now, and they need people who can do simple coding on Excel. For example, Excel VBA also, because there are a lot of small automations to be done, and hence you will find FRM CFA candidates being hired along plus with coding experience. So FRM CFA will definitely become a benchmark now in your risk management team. And you will also need to have a good risk management domain knowledge, which essentially means that you need to be well versed with your global regulations like MiFID, EMIR regulation. Then you have PRA rules and regulation, RBI rules and regulation. Then you have Federal Reserve particular regulations. Then also Basel regulations are widely required if you are a part of the risk management domain. Okay, and then what happened is that we'll also find uh, yourself having a networking ability skill, because what happens is that if you're working in a risk management team and in a big organization, you'll end up talking to your managers or team members into different regions. So for example, you're sitting in Bombay, your manager might be in US or London, and you'll also find a lot of your counterparts sitting in China and Japan. So those kind of networking ability has to be there. Presentation recognized as a basic skill now for you in risk management domain, and you'll have to handle stress because a lot of your risk committee meetings, risk meeting presentations are very hectic. You get around 5 6 days to create the entire presentation, so you'll have to be ready with that because the compensation is generally very good for an analyst or senior analyst. You'll find the range, it starts from generally 5 to 6 lakhs in a very big organization, and if you're into a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan kind of business company, then you'll see yourself getting around 8 to 9 lakhs also at a starting level. So that is a very big experience compensation wise. I can say this is a very lucrative business, lucrative roles to enter into. And hence, as you grow, you'll find yourself within 2 to 3 years earning around 12 to 13, 14 lakhs also. Last role that we will primarily discuss is basically your job related to front office. Now, front office is a very niche role because you'll be doing a lot of sales and trading. Okay, so in an investment bank as such, you will find a sales and trading team and an investment banking team. Now, sales and trading team, which is sales and trading team, is working, that generally works hands on hand. Sales team, what they do is, if suppose there is an IPO that is happening, and your bank, for example, Citibank is actually an underwriter of that IPO, then you will find yourself selling the stocks of that company to your clientele. So sales, selling in the sense, you'll be talking to a big insurance company, you'll be talking to a big mutual fund, and you'll try to sell your IPO to that client. So that's where your sales team comes into picture, and you need a lot of product knowledge. You'll need a lot of sales skills also, and sales skill plus networking skill, because you'll be constantly talking to your client. Then you'll find yourself also doing your trading team. So trading team is basically a trader. So a trader sits into a front office and does a lot of trading for your clients, and also a proprietary money. So there is basically an agency business and a proprietary business. So agency business is basically you're doing trade on behalf of your client, and proprietary business is where you're engaging in your trades on behalf of the company's money. So you might end up investing a lot of your company's fund in FX market, right? So those kind of roles are there, and it's a very stressful job, very stressful job. You have to be very good with numbers if you're into a trading team. Then you will find merger and acquisition and debt restructuring team. So merger and acquisition team also has a lot of people from CFA background joining in. Okay, because and you'll find a lot of top B school students also a part of the merger and acquisition. For example, Namura hired a lot of IIM Kozhikode and IIM Bangalore people, and a lot of JP Morgan team has IIM Ahmedabad people in their merger and acquisition team. And but CFAs and FRM is also gradually able to join those teams. And what you do is you assist your client in an acquisition of a company or in the merger, right? So a lot of presentation has to be created by your side. You'll also end up doing a lot of number crunching for your client. A lot of meetings with the client side is also done in the M&A business. Debt structuring team is, suppose if I have a debt of around $100 million, and I want to increase that debt to, say, for example, 200 million or $300 million. I will go to an investment bank, and investment bank will help me with raising that debt on with the market. And also, if suppose I have a debt and I'm not able to pay, how do you restructure into a new debt so that my payments can be deferred? So those kind of activity is done by the debt restructuring team. You'll find a lot of FRMs, CA candidates joining in these roles, and the hierarchy is more or less similar. You'll find you joined at a senior analyst level, and you'll grow as you grow in the business. So either generally you stay in the senior analyst level for 3 years, and then you move to senior associate roles for around more 2 years, and then you become an AVP or AVP side. So this is the front office domain. I know people might have a lot of questions. I will open up the venue for questions in some time. Now moving ahead, what all key skills that you find yourself in the front office role is, you have to be very good with numbers, and that is why you will find a lot of good quality people working in that. Your sales and presentation skill has to be very good, because you will end up making so many presentations for your clients or top management. And product knowledge is very much required, because you might end up selling an IPO or a debt to your client. So they might have a lot of questions, and you will have to be you'll have to answer those questions on behalf of your client. So those kind of knowledge is very there. Stress is a very big negative point about this role, is that stress is very high generally in your front office related role, and you will find a lot of completed charter holders, FRM CFA joined in these kind of roles, and you should have a quick decision making ability. And your compensation generally range from 10 lakhs. So generally the starting package is very high for a front office role, and within a year you can find yourself reaching 20 lakhs 30 lakh package very easily. But definitely you'll find the crowd sitting with you, either a IIM or an IIT candidate, people who have an MBA from Harvard or such B school, top B school, uh, doing that, sitting with you. So the competition is very, very high over here. Top recruiters in India as of now, you'll find JP Morgan, HSBC recruiting huge number of FRM CFA people. Then Namura is also there. Namura is also there. A big chunk of hiring is done. Citigroup for their investment banking team, they do a lot of hiring for at a at an analyst and senior analyst level role. And BNY Mellon Pune is also done. PNY Mellon Pune also hires a lot of people. Okay, so that is these are the top recruiters. You'll also find PwC and KPMG credits. Then you'll also find ICRA, which is not we have not highlighted it in the list. These are your credit rating agencies who basically are there and who hire a lot of FRM and CFA candidates in India nowadays. So going to the next slide. Okay, what we do, how will we help you in this entire process? So we conduct live classroom sessions in Bombay. We do conduct live online based coaching for CFA, FRM, CAIA, and all those kind of career related coachings also are done from our end. We give you a lot of self study preparation notes and question banks for your preparation for the exam. For example, CFA and charter holder, CFA and FRM charter holder exams. And we also provide recorded lectures for our candidates, which they can view on their laptops for their quick revision. We also conduct a lot of test series and mock papers for our students and students who are not a part of our institute also. And we do provide 24/7 doubt solving sessions and placement assistance, because we have a tie up with a lot of job consultants, and what they end up doing is they provide us with a lot of leads for jobs, and we pass it on to our students. And we also do a lot of revision session during the exam time. So for example, last 1 month is generally your revision pattern doubt solving sessions happening back to back. And we are planning to introduce few more additions to our CFA and FRM program, is that we will be having a skill enhancement online workshops for our students. For example, presentation skill, how you can improve your presentation skill, how you can improve your networking skill, how you can improve your Excel or Excel VBA, Python, R. So those kind of skill enhancement workshops will be conducted for our students. Then you will also be conducting a lot of general information related webinar. For example, what is happening in market, how do you appear into an interview, how what are the top 5 questions that are generally asked in an interview. So those kind of things. And we will be starting out with internships and live projects for our students who are into CFA, FRM or CAIA study mode. And we conduct a lot of our live classroom sessions, and these are the benefits that you will find yourself. We also conduct live online classes through GoToWebinar, and you'll find the faculty teaching you on a one-to-one basis kind of stuff. And we also provide recorded sessions and also revision packages to our students. Now, what are future sessions that we plan to line up in terms of webinars? Okay, so we are planning to do a lot of online webinars in terms of introduction to investment banking, trade life cycle. We'll be doing it in the next 2-3 weeks. Then a lot of how do you enhance your networking skills, which is very essential for you to when you go and do a job in a bank or an investment bank. Then we also start out with a live conversation with industry professionals who are already working. What is their feedback? How do they land up in a job? And what would they say to new people entering into their role? And a lot of product knowledge related topics are also covered in these kind of seminars, which we are planning to do in the next 2 to 3 weeks for the students, so that they can enhance their skill in this lockdown period. Now I'll open up for queries from your side. In case anybody has questions, they can start asking. I've opened up, so you can unmute yourself and start asking questions.
So,
Yeah,
can a
help me.
student do? Hello,
Please highlight your name first. That would be really helpful.
sir, Roshan here.
Hi Roshan, tell me.
Sir, can a student do FRM and CFA both?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people, what they do is they do a triple crown. So when I'm saying triple crown, so what they do is they start out with CFA or FRM, and once you're done with CFA FRM, you do CAIA, which is Certified Alternative Investment Analyst. So it's very normal for students to do both CFA and FRM, and you'll find a lot
Okay,
of
sir,
people
thank you.
on LinkedIn doing that.
Okay.
Any more queries with respect to job, with respect to the roles that I've mentioned, the salaries that I've mentioned? Yeah, Srinath, I think so. You had a doubt. Ashutosh, you had raised a you had a query, so you can unmute yourself directly and you can start asking questions. Any questions, you can unmute yourself. You guys can unmute yourself directly from the system and ask questions.
Ganesh, hello. This is Kalpesh here.
Hi, Kalpesh, tell me.
Yeah. Sir, actually, I'm a risk professional and I had total around 5 years of experience. I'm currently
Okay.
working in the market risk aspect of Credit Suisse. All right. But on a contract to hire basis. Okay. So I want to know about it. If at all I change my streams on in the same way from the market risk perspective, okay, what could be my future career means lucrative in that cases? What could be my future path in the way?
Okay. So first of all, what change you are looking out for? You want to move away from market risk? You want to go to some other stream? For example, you want to go to credit risk or treasury risk? Is it?
So currently I'm working on the market aspect more on the data part, data integrations and data mining and
Yeah.
all these things. As you rightly said,
Okay.
yes, there are certain regulatory reportings also we used to do it up on the basis of
Right.
FINRA and PRA also, right? But
Right.
even though, what could be the future aspects for this one thing? I'm looking for something that if at all I'm going in the same stream, how I would be landed about in the means 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line in the
Okay,
same
if
way.
you look at market,
And
yeah, if you look at market risk only, okay, I feel that the job prospect is very good because you will find a lot of big banks in Bombay at least doing similar kind of roles. So the kind of job that you are doing for Credit Suisse, you'll find similar role, more or less similar work being done in Namura, JP Morgan also, right? So I was
okay,
a part of Namura before, so I know what kind of work these marketers team were doing. Obviously, I think so. The size of the team might be small because Namura
yes.
is basically a smaller bank as compared to the other Credit Suisse and JP Morgan. But the ability that it gives you is that you will have a lot of job openings available in future. If you go to
Mhm.
a niche role, you'll end up working in only 3 4 companies.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Suppose you are working in KPMG, which is a big four. So a lot of people do what they do is they join KPMG, then they move towards PwC, then they go to end up again coming back to KPMG like that. But at least for market risk roles, you will apart from the investment banks also market risk professionals are hired in in treasury teams also. So you will find Trafigura is a very big recruiter. You will find Reliance in Bombay. They have a very big treasury team. So they hire people who have a market risk experience.
Sure. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you.
Any more question? You can directly unmute yourself and start asking questions. I'll be there for next 5 minutes.
Hello Ganesh sir, this is Sandeep here.
Hi Sandeep. Tell me.
I have a very typical question. See, I'm an engineer by profession, and I'm working in MNC as an engineer background. But I'm been passionate into markets, and I've been into trading derivative products, creating strategies, data analysis. I've been doing.
Okay.
Somehow this field is attracting me. I just wanted to know what would you suggest me if I want to change my career path?
Okay. So having an engineer degree is definitely an add-on in finance. Okay. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
you'll find a lot of banks going towards automation, and
Mm-hmm.
when they have in their mode of automation, they will need people who know the finance side or the product side, plus somebody who can code. Okay, so definitely
Okay.
a lot of engineers get hired in a bank. Okay, but
Okay.
what banks expect is that even if you get hired, you will have to get the functional knowledge. That means you will have to get the bank related knowledge. Okay, I'll give you an example. Morgan Stanley, what they do is they hire a lot of people from Bits Plan. Okay,
Okay.
and when they
Mm-hmm.
hire them in the first 1 or 2 years, they ask them to clear either CFA level 1 or 2 or either FRM level 1 or 2, so that they get
Okay.
the basic idea about how what all different financial products are available, what all different risks are
Mm-hmm.
available. And obviously, if they are an engineer from a very good B school, then they will have technical skills. So that's an add-on for them. And the benefit is that these big companies, like somebody mentioned about trade shows also. So these big organizations, what they do is they refund your money. So if you're going for CFA or FRM, they will pay your
Mm-hmm.
registration fee to the institute.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
if you clear the exam, so you'll have to
Mm-hmm.
first apply for that reimbursement. You have to inform that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll be giving the exam. If you clear the exam, you can ask for reimbursement. And generally, what happens is
Mm-hmm.
that reimbursement is tied up with a bond, basically, kind of a bond, wherein what they say is that if you have
Mm-hmm.
taken the reimbursement, you have to be in the organization for at least 1 year. If you leave before that, you'll have to pay back the amount that you have received. So those kind of stuff. But primarily, you'll end up receiving those huge amount. For example, if you go for CFA, 1 lakh rupees, around 1 lakh rupees is what you have to pay for the first level in terms of registration and the exam fee. So those kind of money can be
Mm-hmm.
refunded, provided you clear the exam.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
but I would say
Thank you.
a lot of engineers are joining now, and they are giving tough competitions to commerce graduates. So that's definitely a good
Okay.
opportunity for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I have seen few profiles of fund managers and who are basically from different engineering background and they are managing the fund. So I was thinking which way I can also try. So thanks for giving the guidance, Ganesh sir.
Ideally, you should prefer to get entry into an investment bank first, and once you enter within
Okay.
1 or 2 years, you can change rules.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that will make your case very strong, because if you're an engineer and you wish to come to finance, then they will ask you so many questions. Why not core engineering role? Why not TCS? Why not Infosys? So
Okay.
they will ask you those kind of questions also, right?
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yep. Got it.
Any more questions from anyone else? You can unmute yourself. I can see a lot of people raising their hands, so they can ask questions directly. Don't worry, directly unmute yourself. And on a general note, if suppose in finance right now, you'll either you have to be, if you want to grow in your career, generally what they look is, they look either you have to be a CA or you have to be an MBA from a very good school, B school, or you have to be a CFA, FRM, or CAIA. And also CAIA is not that much uh, recognized in India because the rules are very limited. Because it's an alternative investment related rule. But CFA, FRM definitely will find rules and industry recognizing it. You are a public sector bank, for example, State Bank also gives reimbursement for students appearing for CFA, FRM. So you can understand that industry recognize this, and they will definitely hire you if you have completed this kind of certification. Any specific questions? We'll wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll close the session if nobody has a question as such. Okay.
Ganesh sir,
Thank you very
Sandeep here
much.
again.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
I just joined. I mean, I joined a bit late to this presentation. Did you also cover the fee structure, what you offer, for coaching and different courses?
What
Or is,
we have not covered that. So we have, in case you are interested, then you can drop a message. You might have received
mm-hmm.
a message from the WhatsApp number. You can revert back to them in case you have received.
Okay, okay,
So
yep,
they will definitely, my team will basically help you out. And
okay,
we in
fine.
future also, to all the students on the online webinar now, we'll be doing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
webinars in future in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So we'll be sending out links to you for registration,
Mm-hmm.
who all is interested. For example, next session that we are planning is introduction to investment bank. So we'll be giving a broad structure about investment bank and what all kind of different roles are available. And plus, we'll also talk about how investment bank actually makes money. Those kind of things.
Okay, yeah, good to know.
So,
Thank you.
so I understand that a lot of people don't have any questions right now. So we'll end up the meeting. And thank you very much for joining in. And hope to see you guys again in future webinars. Thank you very much.